Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how you can look good with little to no makeup. And my name is Melissa van Dijk and I'm a makeup artist, and I wanted to do this tutorial mainly because when I'm searching on Google or YouTube for a natural makeup look, you won't end up finding a natural makeup look. They are mainly still have a full coverage foundation on, they are contoured, they are bronzed like bold eyes and lips, but it has nothing to do with natural. And they're also mainly using most of the time filters so that their skin looks smooth, that it seems like they have no pores, which is very unnatural as everyone has pores. Some are larger, other ones are a little bit smaller, but this is just how the organ works. And so I'm going to show you how you can look fresh and awake and have an even skin tone with a few makeup products. And I'm also going to share some tips and tricks and also recommendations, which depending on your skin situation or your skin concerns, you might want to skip it, you might want to add it. That's totally up to you. Just feel free to experiment. And also make sure that it looks good and you feel also good about yourself at the end once you have applied the makeup. And so I'm going to start off with step number 1, which is applying a good moisturizer. This is such an important step that if you don't have the right moisturizer for your skin or for your skin needs, it can end up like not looking that great. Just because, for example, if you have dry skin, you want to get rid of any dry patches, a moisturizer is really important. And so the one that I can recommend is the Avene Skin Recovery Cream, which is beautiful. This one is also suitable for hypersensitive and also irritated skin. It will help to calm down your skin, as well as also if you have some blemishes and redness, as well as also even out your skin tone and moisturize your skin. And this is one of my favorite moisturizers from all the ones that I've tried so far, just because of how well it works. And so what you're going to do is just use your fingers for it, just use a bit of moisturizer and then you're good to go. And apply it evenly all over the face. So once you have applied the moisturizer, then we could also move on to the next step. But for example, if you don't want to use the moisturizer on its own, but you also wanted to add a bit of a tint to even out your skin tone a bit more, depending on your needs, then you could also go in with a tinted moisturizer. As this is like the 2-in-1, it will moisturize your skin, adds a bit of glow as well as a bit of a tint. But this is also optional, so go with whatever you personally prefer. Now moving on to the next step, which is concealer. The one that I can recommend is by Catrice, and it's because of how it works. Mainly if you're going to apply it and you're going to blend it into the skin, this is from my experience, I don't really need to set it. It kind of dries on its own, but not in a like very cakey way, but it just feels good on the skin. And what you can do is, while applying the concealer, either just use it around the eye area if you have a bit of discoloration going on, or just use a bit also on your blemishes or breakouts. So I'm going to use it mainly also on my breakouts and a bit under the eye, so that I have at the end an even skin tone. So if you're using a concealer, make sure that it's also suitable with your skin tone, and that once you have blended it in, it shouldn't be noticeable compared to your skin tone, so that it looks even and you're looking fresh and awake. And if you have the right concealer that works the best for your skin type, which everyone might also need a different concealer, then make sure that it also does the job for you, especially also if you have like blemishes or breakouts or a little bit of discoloration and you want to use it on those certain areas, that you're happy with the end result. Because if you have the right concealer, the right texture for you and the right shade, you don't need a full coverage foundation, as this already does the job. And also, if you have breakouts or little bumps, you can't really hide the bump. Keep this in mind. Just because someone uses a filter, it doesn't mean that in real life you won't see it. If you have a little bump, like let's say this always will be visible. But what you can do is you can reduce the color of it. Let's say if it's red, you're going to erase the redness and it looks less obvious. And this is something that I believe where people are always getting confused because so many people are using filters. So for example, right here on my forehead or on my cheek, I just use the concealer to get rid of the discoloration. But the little bump or the little cracks that are in it because of the healing process are still there. But it's less visible and it's also less noticeable, which is the main point of a concealer if you're going to use it on those areas. For under the eyes, I just used a little bit to brighten it, but not too much because I don't want to make a huge change in it, as I still want to keep it natural. So now that we have spot concealed those areas, to even out the skin tone, it's time for powder. This depends also on your skin type. If you have a drier skin type, you don't need to use a lot of powder, or even you don't need to use any powder. Depends also on how your concealer works. Some concealers dry on their own, you don't have to set them, other ones can move around. If you're going to use a bit of powder only on the concealed areas, then you can use a smaller, fluffier brush as well as a bit of face powder. If you want to cover up a little bit more larger areas because you have an oily skin, then you can also go in with a bigger brush. Now I'm going to use a bit of powder on the brush and then mainly set it under the eyes. Make sure that you're going to check that it's nicely blended in, that it hasn't creased, and then you're going to go with the powder on top. Just a tiny bit, you don't need a lot. And then if you feel like, you can also go to a little bit more larger areas and just dust it over, not too much. And also don't use too much, otherwise it can look really dry at some point, so keep it lightweight. Now we are moving on to the eyes and brows, and I'm going to start with the eyebrows. If you are happy with your eyebrows and you're happy on how they look and you just wanted to tweeze them a bit or use your spoolie and brush through them to make them stay in place, that's totally fine. Just go for it. I'm really happy if you're happy with your brows. But if you have some spare areas or you want to fill them in or use a bit of brow gel to make them stay in place as the way you like them to, then you can do it too. Mainly, I like to use it with a little bit of a tint, like a gel tint, and then go through my brows to make them stay in place, because sometimes they can look a bit messy. But if you have, let's say, a little bit like less brow hairs and you want to fill them in, you can do so. But I would recommend you going in with an eyeshadow that suits also with your brow hairs, like the color of it. As this way it will look the most natural, and then fill them in with an angled brush. But don't forget to be very careful, don't use too much. The mistake I've done when I first started off was that I thought I should basically shape my brows as I always would see on YouTube and Instagram, which was a total mistake, as for me, I just now like to use a little bit of brow gel and I'm good to go. But if you feel like the need to add a bit of color to it, that's totally understandable, but just keep it very lightweight. You don't need the person next to you doesn't need to keep the focus towards your brows, as this is the only thing that stands out. You want to create a balance while you're going to use some makeup products. And so the way that I like to use it is with a bit of brow gel. But as I said, if you like to fill them in a bit, don't shape your brows, just fill them in. Just use a little bit of powder on the spare areas. And don't be too harsh, because this will look very unnatural. I mean, if you want to see it, just go a few like videos back on my channel and you will see how I used to do my brows. But I've learned my lesson, and I just wanted to like tell you guys my experience and also what I've learned from it. Just keep your brows the very natural way. And if you feel to add a bit of color, yeah, that's fine. If you don't want to add something, that's cool too. Just go for it. So now that the brows are done, which is very quick, I'm going to move on to the eyes. Now for the eyes, I want to keep it very simple, but I still wanted to share a tip that you might also want to use at home. And this is using a bit of eyeliner pencil. Now an eyeliner pencil can be used in so many ways. You either can do a little bit of a line above the lashes, you can use it underneath on the waterline. So if you are going to do this, and this is your way on how you're going to do your everyday makeup, go for it. I wanted to share a tip which you can use to make your lashes a little bit bolder, like in a way of adding a bit of volume also that it looks like. And this is by using a bit of eyeliner pencil on the upper waterline and also wiggling it a little bit through your lashes. Now this is something you don't need to use it all the way through. If you want to keep it to the outer corner, that's fine too, and then add mascara on top. I'm going to do it on one side first and add mascara so that you can see the difference. So now that I have darkened the upper waterline and went a bit through the lashes, I'm now going to add a bit of mascara. And so keep in mind the other side I haven't done anything, so that you see the difference. So now I have the eyeliner and mascara on, and I personally like to see this difference just because I've darkened the waterline. It looks a little bit fuller and a little bit more intense. Even though I don't have any on my eyelid area, I just use it right underneath. And so this is something that you can do, but you don't have to, and maybe this was also a helpful tip for you. Next off, we are going to move on to some blush. Now if you have already naturally red cheeks, you don't want to add blush, this is totally fine. I like to add a bit. You can also decide if you want to use cream or powder, whatever suits you the best. Keep in mind with cream you can also apply it with your fingers. This is also a quicker way on how you can use it, or use a bit of like a medium-sized face brush, which you can use easily to apply a bit of blush. And then for the application, don't forget to smile. Start off with the apples of your cheeks. Then you're going to blend it towards the hairline and a bit downwards so that it will give you the most natural finish. Now once you have applied the blush and you're happy with the end result, don't forget that you can also use a bit more if you like to, but if you want to keep it very light and just add a little bit of a hint of tint, that's totally fine. Now after we have applied blush, we can move on to the lips. For the lips, to keep it also natural, easy, you can also use either a tinted lip balm or a little bit of lip gloss. If you are that type of person that can apply lipstick on the go and this is your usual habit, go for it. But to make it also a little bit easier and to look very refreshing, I definitely would recommend going in with either lip balm or a lip gloss. I like to go in with a lip gloss to add a little bit of shine but not too much color. So now my lips are looking a little bit shimmery, they also look moisturized and very evened out. The way that I like to apply my lipstick, or let's say lip gloss or tinted lip balm, is mainly because you can use them on the go. So if you wanted to reapply them, just go for it. You don't have to use a mirror with it, depending on how often you do it. And so this way you can also just simplify your whole makeup routine. So this is the makeup tutorial that I wanted to share with you, and keep in mind this is not sponsored. I'm an independent channel, which means I'm also buying the products with my own money, and this is also the look that I wanted to come up with to show you how easy it can be to even out your skin with just a little makeup but still look good. And also do hope that you enjoyed this video, and if you did so, don't forget to give it a thumbs up as well as share it. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you soon in the next one. Bye!